So again, thank you everyone for attending the webinar today. I think we have a really great action-packed agenda today. We're going to go through some of the high-level features for work papers as well as ProTax, and then I'm going to get into a live demo to show everyone what we're showing you in the slides leading up to that, and kind of what we can do in the product here. So should be fun. Feel free to ask questions along the way. I'm actually going to have a slide to talk a little bit about how to do that. But I guess, a good way to start would be to introduce myself, like who is this guy, other than my name and my Zoom window here. But my name's Dustin Schisler. I'm a product manager at Intuit, currently focused on QuickBooks Online Accountant ProTax. Very excited to be here today. Hopefully all of you are too. And today, of course, we're going to be talking about books to tax. And that is, of course, in the cloud. So just kind of a bit of housekeeping here. Do your best. Like I know I asked everyone to let us know where they're dialed in from in the chat window. Feel free to use the chat to talk with each other, make comments. If you do have questions about the product itself, you want to use the Q&A. We do actually have an awesome panel lined up here ready to take on your questions and provide any answers that you're looking for. So feel free to use the Q&A. Feel free to use the chat if you just want to actually chit chat and don't have a direct product question for our team here. All right, just another reminder here as well for housekeeping that you do get 1 CPD credit today, which is awesome. Just note that it's only for folks that are able to attend the live webinar, and you don't get a credit if you watch the recording at a later time. All right, and so as some of you may know, if you've worked with our internal teams before or own other Intuit and QuickBooks products, we talk to customers all the time. And we base a lot of our decisions and how we build products on feedback from the customers. And who better to ask than the people using the product? So thank you for your input if you have provided any for us already. And if not, there's always a chance to work together in the future if that's something you're interested. I'll show my contact information at the end of the webinar if you want to get in touch with me. But in asking around to accounting professionals and bookkeepers, these are kind of 3 items that we've heard that everybody needs in a books to tax software. You need reliability. It's got to be there, ready to use when you need it. Completedness, it needs to be able to do everything that you need to do to service your clients' unique needs. And of course, efficiency, you need to do all this stuff fast. Maybe you want to take on some more clients. Maybe you want to go play in the sun on a beautiful day like today. Whatever the reason is that you want to get this done faster, we're here to help save you time. And so, like, what does all this really even mean? It means that you just want to get work done, right? And bottom line is you have one place to do it all with our QuickBooks Online Accountant books to tax solution with work papers and ProTax. And so, you can skip the manual entry and re-entry, ditch the import-export, escape the old app switch, no more logging into 25 different apps for 25 different passwords for probably 25 different reasons. Any reason that we can make this faster for you, we will. And it's, one password, one place to do it all for your year-end books to tax. And, speaking of books to tax, it's a lot of times out there in the world, using a software to do your books like QuickBooks and then using a tax product to do your taxes, sometimes it can feel like those 2 products are not even speaking the same language. We'd like to think that with our books to tax solution, we're fixing that, and they are now speaking the same language, and we tend to think that that's pretty fresh. So hopefully you guys do too. And with that, we'll get into a couple of slides on work papers, ProTax, and then we'll jump into the live demo. Just a reminder, feel free to ask any questions to our panelists in the Q&A, as well as feel free to interact with each other or the panelists in our chat section there as well too. All right, so why don't we go ahead and get started. Taking a look, we'll start with work papers here. As you can see, this is the landing page for work papers. There's a couple tabs listed there that I'll go through high level here on these slides. So, year-end tasks, this is, you know, what pops up when you launch into work papers. You may be tracking this in like an Excel spreadsheet. But this kind of puts everything at your fingertips. It's very simple, not overcomplicated, and kind of gives you an idea of the statuses of all your tasks, which is really great for work sharing. You can create custom year-end tasks, as well as import them from other clients to have consistency across the board if you're managing multiple clients. So really great place to start and sort of organize your work. And then of course, on the next tab, we have documents. Within the documents section here, it's kind of a secure place for all your documents. It's got folders, subfolders. You can add URL links to external documents. You can drag and drop documents from your computer, carry them forward year over year. It's got a bunch of great stuff in there geared to year ends, all in one spot for doc management. And of course, with the documents, you can also mark them up or annotate them. So if you wanted to, you know, maybe you're not going to draw a smiley face on it like I did here, but you can kind of circle things, highlight items, you know, leave a note for a friend. You can even actually leave a comment as well. As you can see there, it's sort of a conversational note that you can leave for one of your coworkers to making collaboration in the cloud a little bit easier. The next tab over is our review and adjust tab. On this tab, you know, it's got your trial balance area. There's multiple review options. You can even add more documents here and take a look at the year over year comparison, see the adjustments that you've made at year end, create a journal entry, lots of stuff to offer here. We have review and prepared flags, so you can mark an account as reviewed or prepared. Like I mentioned on the last slide, leave a conversational note for somebody that's in your firm, and quickly make journal entries and year-end adjustments. And just to kind of touch on conversational notes a little bit more, you'll see conversational notes spread across some of the tabs and work papers. This is like having a conversation with somebody. You know, you no longer do you have to pick up the phone. Hey, Jim, did you review that cash account for client X? Or send a text message, or even be in the same room to talk about it. You can leave a note, mention what you did, leave next steps. You know, it's all right here, and it's just easier than sending a text and makes collaboration in the cloud very simple in our QuickBooks Online Accountant Books to Tax solution here. The next tab is grouping and statements. Grouping and statements, you can create financial statements and condense the groups of accounts for notice to reader or compilation engagement reports. You can kind of condense the way that the folders show up for an easier view, and then you can export the file to Excel and sort of customize it even further there, which is really cool. And then, excuse me, of course, the next tab is actually now the income tax tab. You can see this when you're in your client's account. And this is where you can come in and review your Giphy. You can remap the Giphy accounts if they need to be allocated to a different tax line. And then when you're all ready and everything looks good, you can start your return and pro tax. It's really that easy. And I'll show you this whole workflow when we get to the live product demo. Very simple to get your data in. You can create a new return starting from blank, starting from fresh. Of course, like I mentioned, you can pull your data in from work papers using Giphy mapping in our books to tax solution. When you get to this screen, you can review your trial balance, take a look, see if everything looks okay. If not, make an adjustment in work papers. If everything looks good, you can go ahead and start the tax return. Just a specific call out here as well too that I want to make, that, you know, when it comes to getting data in, we do also support self-employed corporate books to tax, and can sync T2125 Giphy data to your tax return as well. So just a call out. And I should mention too, I thought there was a slide, but I think I might have double tapped the skip button there, but you are able to import clients create clients that don't have a QBO account. So you can literally start a blank return, add a new client. You can even add them right on the fly from the client drop-down menu there, and then you're off to the races with your tax return with a customer that's not using QBO. So it works for everybody, really. And so getting into kind of what the Pro Tax end would look like now that we've started our return. This is a look at the return list. It's a great place to get organized for the day. You can filter your list of returns by client name, years, statuses. You can authorize a representative for the client from the screen as well, carry forward all your returns at once in a batch action. And of course, there's lots of settings you can access from here as well that I'll show you when we get to the live demo. Yeah, and just another reminder that this does work with all your clients, even people not on QBO. So you can create returns for them. They'll show up in the return list, just like clients using QuickBooks Online. And again, so from here, you can start a new return, or you could even import data from another tax software that you're using if you're looking to switch and move to the cloud or move to QuickBooks Online Pro Tax. Trying to make preparing tax returns simple. You'll see here that you can view the form and enter your data. You can also flip over to see what the PDF would look like, which I'll show you in a little bit. So whatever you're used to, we got you covered. We do also have, because we're pulling in data from clients' books, we do also have what's called jump links. So if you're working on a return and you want to look at the source data, you can click that little arrow and it's going to jump to the original data source in the books or in QBOA, depending on what you're clicking on. So a really easy way to navigate to a tax field to make updates. And of course, ProTax is powered by Intuit's powerful tax engine, makers of Profile, which some folks in the crowd may recognize the name, using the same tax engine. And we do have a trusted auditor. This is kind of like a friend looking over your shoulder to make sure that you've completed everything that's needed to be able to successfully submit and e-file your tax return. Speaking of e-file, when you go to e-file, we give you a return summary, so a really high-level summary of taxes and payable amounts. Here you can also update or change your e-file credentials and request a web access code for filing. Another call out here is we do show you a preview of the form. That way you can double check it, make sure everything's filled out exactly how you expect it to be. Maybe you're used to these forms and not necessarily the data fields, and this is a little bit more closer to home for you. Then this is a great way to double check your work before you e-file. We do also, of course, provide support for T3 e-file. With our T3 e-filing, we're making T3s a lot easier as well too. You can pull data right from T1s. And we do have something that we have in our T1 module in T3 as well, called the T3 Express. Just kind of summarizes the most important data fields that you need to complete to submit your return. And of course, we have a full form set for English Canada with our T3 offering. I did mention web access code, so just call it out here. If you don't have an e-file number, that's not a problem. We can definitely still help. You can request a web access code from within the return, and it'll make a call to the CRA and grab a web access code for you so you can file it right away, which is pretty awesome. Another cool feature we have is the ability to create family returns. So you can create a return and then link a spouse and or dependents to the return to create a family return. You can even jump back and forth and work on both returns at the same time in the same window. So another great time saver in that regard. And speaking of T1, we do also offer a pension split optimization tool as well. So now if you have a pensioner and a pensionee couple, who are elected to split their pension income, we can help calculate that for you and suggest a pension transfer amount that would optimize the return for both the clients. If you're unhappy with that suggested transfer or want to see if you can create some more savings, you can even calculate your own split in the calculator column. And we have a nice and easy to read savings summary that'll show you exactly, you know, what you transferred and what those results are for the client, which is really great. This might be one of my favorite features, and I feel like a lot of users that I talk to don't know about it, so I'm going to express how awesome I think this is here. This is a quick bar. It looks like a search bar, but it's a lot more than that. You can literally think about something, you can type it in, you can do it. You can jump to a tax line, you can add new forms, you can navigate to different parts of the product. It makes finding things very easy, especially if you're coming on board and used to a desktop platform or a different tax software. This can make those navigational burdens go away pretty quick. You can just kind of jump around, add new forms, and jump to specific tax lines. So really cool. If anyone out in the audience today is already using ProTax, I highly recommend taking a look at the quick bar, which is just above the forms list there. And of course, you can print. We have lots of powerful customization options for printing. You can customize them for your firm. You can rearrange the order if you want to put them in a different type of order. You can also, you know, those settings carry forward year over year, so it's consistent every year. It's printing the same way, and you can even set these up on the firm or the client level. So you can set them up on the firm level, so everyone in the firm is using the same form selection and the same print order. But then you can also save it for your clients and use the same print order individually as well, and use that year over year. Okay, sorry about that. I think there's a delay with my slide clicker here. Yeah, so printing, a lot of great options. Again, I'll show you that in the product demo when we get to it. We did also add support for FRRMS, which is Foreign Revenue Reporting Management System. This was implemented by the CRA last tax year. So now we have the ability to upload documents from members within the firm, view any documents that were uploaded by other firm members, and we can also use those forms and attach them to info returns such as the T106, T1134, and T1135. You can see which documents you actually have selected for CRA transmission and which ones have been transmitted. You do get a final review before you actually submit those e-documents to the CRA as well. Two more cool features that can make your auditing woes a little bit better. We have Live Auditor as well as Easy Override. These are two really cool features. So Live Auditor is kind of like having a spell check as you're working. So you can turn on Live Auditor and you wouldn't have to actually go to the auditor section. It's going to provide you with real-time diagnostics so you can troubleshoot on the spot as you're completing the tax return. And then if there was any information that was overridden, that was being pulled from a field and overridden, which would be indicated by a little red bar on the side of the data field, instead of having to jump to the source data and erase it and let it repopulate, you can just delete overrides now. So you can just come in here, click this trash can next to the override, and that will restore the field back to default. We do also have another feature called Quick Mode, which can help you save data by pausing calculations as you're working through the tax return, which can actually speed up how long it takes to finish it. We make less calls to the API. So instead, when you move from field to field, it's not going to recalculate your totals each time. It'll recalculate, like for example, every other time, which kind of slows down how much data you're using. And then by the time you're done the return, everything is lined up and in sync. So it's a great way. I joke internally and call this cottage mode, but it's great if you're in a low bandwidth area or have slow internet somewhere, or in rural Canada somewhere. It just allows you to get through your tax return a lot quicker without being dependent on the internet calls and calculations each time you move through a field. We do have some prepare settings available in our tax settings menu. So now you can add prepare info under settings, enter it once for your authorization forms, and it'll go across the forms. So you don't have to re-enter the same ID number over and over and over again. You can pull it from our tax settings. We also have a discounter number available as well that can be used to complete your RC71 statement of discounting transactions. Lots more coming down the pipeline on these prepare info and tax settings, but this is available as of right now. Okay. So can anyone in the crowd tell me what this is? Feel free to drop it in chat if you know. I'm curious to see if anyone knows what this is on the screen right now here. It's a little pop quiz for everyone. And it looks like we got a couple of people funneling some answers. I see letter to client template, diagnostics template for letters to client, client letter template. Yeah, that's right. This is an older client letter template. Now, I mean, me personally, I don't even know what this is really saying to me right now. If I wanted to simplify things, I would probably write it out manually because I don't really understand this, but that might just be me. What I'll show you on the next screen though, if my clicker will connect again, I apologize. So yeah, that's right. This is a client letter template. And this is kind of the computer science degreed person that we would need to help prepare a letter if I was going to send one out. Taking a look at what we have to offer in work papers and QuickBooks Online Accountant Pro Tax, we have client letters. This comes with out-of-the-box templates for notes of the financial statement, T1, T2 summaries. There's a whole bunch that are templates from both the CRA, Intuit, and you can also make custom templates. You can even build off of the ones that are provided right out of the box. You can drag and drop variables on this right-hand side here. So we have variables for general, which would come from your QBOA account, and then variables for your client's books, and then T1 tax and T2 tax. You can literally drag and drop these variables in, and it'll pull in the information that you're looking to get from your client file. So no more computer programming. This is taking it a step further. We really love this feature. If anyone has any feedback that's used it, feel free to reach out to me and let me know if you have any comments on letters. Very cool. And I'll show you how this works when we get into the live demo as well too. If you do need help, you can give us a call. We have a toll-free number, lots of support agents standing by. Make sure you click the little Pro Tax Help button on your return window. You can start a chat, visit our help hub with support articles, send us feedback, give us a call, or connect with our group on Facebook. There's a direct link there, and I'll share that at the end here as well. Okay, so if anyone wants to follow along, you can go to this address here if you don't have a QBOA account. If you do and you want to play along, feel free to sign in. And now we're going to start a demo here. Just give me 1 sec. I'm going to switch screens. We'll begin. All right, so hopefully everyone can see my screen here. So what you're looking at right now is my list of clients. Just a call out that you can add a client that doesn't have a QBO subscription from this little button here. You can also add them on the fly as you're creating a tax return. So just a call out there for anyone looking to use QBOA, work papers, and ProTax for any clients that are not currently subscribed to QBO. I'm going to jump into a client specifically here because I keep talking about the books to tax story and I want to show you exactly what I mean. So I'm going to start there. I'm going to jump into this client here, Heart and Hardware. You'll see that this pulls up my accountant view. You can tell because there's a books to tax menu up here. So under our books to tax menu, we have books review, work papers, and income tax, like I alluded to before. Books review is a place for you to review transactions, see if there's any open issues or undeposited funds or unapplied payments that you want to take care of with your client. You can also send a request as well. So you could create a new request and you could literally ask them to send you documents that you need for your books review. Just wanted to show you that quickly. It's part of the books to tax journey, but I know we're here to talk about year ends. And so we're going to start here in work papers. This might look a little familiar from some of the slides we went through earlier once it loads up, but I just wanted to give a bit of a demo on this side of things as well too. So I'm going to jump back over to year-end tasks so you can see what this looks like, outside of a slide. So again, I can drag and drop these in different orders if I want to. I can mark them as their status, so I can change it from to do, which the clear one, to waiting, which is amber, to done, which is green. So it's a really great way to see high level what needs to be done, not too cluttered up with too much detail. You can see some detail if you click on here. You can make edits or delete the task, as well add new tasks and pull in tasks from another client if you want some consistency across the board. I'm just going to move over to the Documents tab here. Here's where you can drag and drop documents. You can see that there's a bunch of documents here. Anyone that was annotated, like I mentioned before, will have a pink info dot next to it. Then you can pull it up and look at it, or decide to annotate right from the drop-down menu here as well too. Review and adjust, again, this is kind of your trial balance area. We do have a trial balance toggle, so you can look at the balance sheet how you normally would, but then you can also view your trial balance to have a year-over-year comparison. Here we have these review marks, so you can mark this rainy day account as prepared or reviewed. When you do and a colleague comes into work papers, they'll be able to see who reviewed it and when, or who prepared it and when. Grouping and statements, like I mentioned, is the way to organize your statements in the groups that you want them to be in. You can drag and drop these in different orders. And then once you're done, you can actually export to Excel, and you'll be able to further customize from there. And we do also, like I mentioned, have conversational notes. I just want to show you this. Okay, so you can see here, just like as a test, one person on the team said, hey, we need to get those statements. The other accountant said, well, I don't have them. Dustin has them. I guess that'd be me, so I better get on that. Then you can just kind of jump in and add a comment, like start typing, okay, and post it. And then your colleagues and coworkers are going to be able to see those additional comments on the conversational note. So it's kind of like making a post on social media. You say something, people can comment and follow up that way. Just makes it more of a conversation than just a note that you could write and then erase and replace. I just want to mention as well here too that you can start your return right in ProTax from work papers. But I'm going to jump over to the income tax tab before I do that. Okay, and here on the income tax tab, this is where you can do your tax mappings. So it's going to give you all your tax lines in the accounts as well as the amounts listed. And you can remap them if you want to. So let's say, for example, I wanted this to change from cash on hand to another account. Let's just say cash. Save. Okay, and now that's been updated. And so once I'm ready to go, I can go ahead and use this Giphy mapping to start my return in ProTax. Okay, so you can see that pulled in the client that I was working on. We already have Giphy mapping selected. It's also pulled in the year start and year end from the client file as well, and has given it a default return name, which you can adjust as well if you like. Once you're here, you can do a double check. Just make sure that all these accounts look good on your trial balance summary. If something is off, you can jump back into work papers to make an adjustment. If everything looks okay, then you can go ahead and hit continue. Now ProTax is pulling in all that Giphy data from the QBO client to start the return. Okay, great. So you can see here I have my basic T2 return. It's initially added all the most commonly used forms for T2 as well. But if you do want to add a form that isn't there, there's a couple ways to go about it. You could add it from this add new form or letter button at the bottom. You can search for forms and then just add them on the fly here. Just add this one. You can also add client letters from here as well that you've created. And then here we have our quick bar. So you can, it's an action launcher, like I mentioned. So, say you wanted to add a certain form or do an autofill, share this return. As you can see, it's kind of pulls in some navigational destinations. So you could go to your RAC summary, but it also pulls in some action. So you can review and file, email a client. These are just some of the things that you can start to do once you're in the quick bar. And so I am going to just go ahead and add this form here. Okay, and it's literally that easy to add new forms. You can, when you're creating your return, it's also pretty easy to come in and edit everything. So if you're looking at a return, we have the data input field here. There's a bit of lag on my home internet here. Yeah, so you can start chipping away at your form. There's this data input field, which is where we are right now. You can see there's different lines here that will kind of highlight when you hover over them, so you know where you are. And then, of course, like I mentioned as well, we have a PDF preview. So you can actually look at the form, what it would look like in the original state in the PDF, look at it, make sure that everything's kind of being filled out how you would expect it to, accurate and complete. And then, of course, we also have the auditor, which I mentioned. So taking a look back at some of the forms here, I'm just going to click on the auditor. You can see there's 34 marked here. So this is going to list a bunch of different issues, warnings, sign-offs, and overrides. So issues are the things that will stop you from e-filing your return, whereas warnings are more just items that the tax engine has picked up that you should probably keep your eye on. And so what you can do is click on the item in the auditor. And it's going to take you right to the spot that you're supposed to update. You can update it, and then that's going to clear from the auditor. I do want to show you as well, we do have the live auditor, which I mentioned. And this is an even quicker way to work. It's going to show you in real time everything that's missing. Any of the issues will show up in red, any warnings will show up in yellow, and it's going to give you some steps on how to fix the error underneath. So this can really help you know, fly through tax season here by entering everything on one singular screen and not having to jump around through the auditor. So it's really cool. When it comes time to e-file, I get a really nice federal summary here that will, if this was a real return, would have some numbers in it. But this is the spot where I could take a look at my final form before submitting my T2 to the CRA, double check that I have any issues that need to be fixed before I continue, as well as enter my e-file password. I can also access a web access code here as well. So once the issues have been taken out, if you don't have a web access code, you can click this request WAC and e-file button, and it'll actually communicate with the CRA and pull that information in and help you file the return. So I'm going to go back into edit mode here. I do want to show you what printing looks like. So if I click print return, okay, so now I can choose the return I want to print and any sort of print sets that I want to include with that. And so you can see there's quite a few in here: CRA, client and office for federal, and AT1. You can add multiple sets if you like to print out. You can include the letters that you've added, and you can also choose which forms you want to include as well. And again, you can drag and drop these in a different order if you want them to print out in a different order. Again, you can save this for your client, and it will carry over year. Once everything looks good, you can click print with this selection and it'll print those forms out in that particular order. Again, there is an option to adjust the settings on the firm level as well, and that's located in tax settings. So I'll show you that as well. But first, I just want to show you letters. All right, so this is our letters landing page. There's a couple different ways to get here. You can go from the accountant toolbox at the top. You can add a letter from the form panel that I showed you earlier as well. And so, like I mentioned, there's a whole bunch of templates that came from the CRA that Intuit's providing. There's a description for each of them, so you know exactly what is what. You can even jump in and view it if you're unsure, see if that's what you're looking for. And so just in case it's hard to read, some of the things this includes is the client letter for T2 summary, compilation engagement reports, tax engagement letters, compilation engagement letter, notes of the financial statement. The list goes on, and you can kind of create any template that you want. You're not limited to what we have here, just trying to give everyone a head start. So I do have a letter here that I'll open up. I'll click the edit button. This was based off of one provided by Intuit that I customized myself. So now I can edit it, and it's my own template that I can use for T2 tax summaries. So just a couple things here. How I mentioned, we do have these variables on the right-hand side, and there is quite a bit of them. We're adding more variables all the time. But basically the general variables are going to pull from your QBOA account, so you can add your preparer info for contact. The books is going to pull information from your client's QuickBooks account, and then the tax variables are going to pull from their return. Just to give you a visual of what you can do here. For me, I like my letters to look professional. I have a cheeky company logo that I like to share. And so I want to add a letter header here. It's as easy as one click. I already have my logo and my company information set up in QBOA. I can literally just click this button and it's going to drop everything in there for me. I'm good to go as far as my header and company logo go, which is great. This is an awesome, it's kind of like a Word document, but way more robust. You can actually add tables as well. So I'll show you how to do that. If you want to add a table for your client, you can click here, choose the size of your table, and there you go. You've added it. You can even drag and drop variables into the table if you want. So you could literally create a table of anything that you can think of, whether it's a variable or something that you're typing in yourself. Sky is the limit. And then just get rid of that table. And then just to quickly show you how easy this is, just drag and drop, and then that's going to pull those variables in. So really cool feature that we have that spans across both work papers and ProTax. You can access this within work papers itself, so feel free to give it a try when we're done here if you haven't already. All right, so I'm going to close out of letters here. And I am going to jump over to T1 really quick. Okay, so here you can see the return list. I can do some bulk action, so I can carry forward all my returns all at once. I can search by client name if I'm looking for someone specific. I can filter them by tax year, as well as what their status is, which is a great way to organize your work for the day. And make sure that you can focus on what you need to focus on based on the status. So just wanted to show you that, as well as get in here and show you some tax settings. So here you can store your e-file number, enter it once, set it and forget it. Same with prepare info as well, which we talked about a little bit in the slide presentation. So rep ID, group ID, it'll pull your business number in from your QBOA settings as well. There's a jump link here to go right to that if you need to update it as well. And then of course, we have discounter information for discounter codes. If you're transmitting T3s, we've got you covered here under settings. You can enter your transmitter number as well as address and technical and accountant contacts. Printing, so this is kind of what I was alluding to previously, where you can set print sets and adjust the order for your own firm. So this is where you can set your standard for what your print sets are going to look like and which ones you're going to use. You can, filter by province as well as tax year as well. And you can select so it only shows the forms you've actually selected in the list. Otherwise, you can show all forms and then kind of check them to print them off. I will save you the scrolling pains there, but yeah, so really, really cool. And then of course, what I was mentioning before, another access point for letters, you can find that in your tax settings as well. Takes you to the same location as the accountant toolbox that we showed you earlier did. Just quickly looking at T1s. I'm going to open up this Craig's Landscaping as a client here. I just want to show you how to link a spouse for family return. You can also link dependents, like I mentioned as well. I'm just not sure if I'll have time to show that today, but We can start here. So we have Craig's Landscaping. And now this is the husband, and I want to add the wife here. So I'm going to click on link spouse or dependent. I'm going to choose, she is this client's spouse. And then we're going to choose which client it is. And then we're going to choose a return as well. I'm going to go ahead and choose this one. Add spouse to return. Okay, and you'll see here at the top now, there's two tabs, one for Craig's Landscaping, which was my original client, as well as one for the spouse. And of course, you can also add dependents here as well. So there could be some tax savings from unused tuition credits from dependents if dependents don't make enough income. So another way to save taxes, you can add your dependent here. I'm actually going to jump away from that for now because I have a couple more things to try and squeeze in and show you before I do a wrap up here. So so taking a look at these two, at this family return that I started, the husband and wife, let's pretend that they are a pensioner and a pensionee. So I want to add the T32 form, or sorry, the 1032. I'm going to go ahead and click that. From my quick bar, I'm going to add the T1032, which is the joint election to split pension income. I have marked off that this is a pensioner. You can choose pensioner or pensionee. And what you might have noticed as well is once you add this form and have, you know, a pensioner and a pensionee linked together for a family return, you get this little light bulb up here. And this is going to take you to the pension split optimization tool. So go ahead and click on that. I don't think I actually set this test account up correctly to have something to show here, but you know, I guess you'll have to take my word for it for now. But if there was elected pension amounts that could be transferred, and we've indicated that on our T1032 form, we would actually provide you with a suggested transfer to lower the amount payable. And again, you can sort of manipulate the calculator to try to figure out your own calculations and see if that would generate some tax savings for the client. Again, I think I set my account up a little off before the webinar today, or the live demo, or maybe I just chose the wrong one. But for the interest of time, that's as easy as the pension split optimizer works. Once you have the number you want, you click optimize, and it'll add it to the account. And then it will, right here, we have a nice summary that'll show you exactly what's being transferred and what the overall savings is. And then, of course, that does get reflected in our balance owing at the top here when we're looking at what we have as a owing summary for our pensioner and pensionee. T1 Express, I want to show you as well while I'm in here. T1 Express, we kind of have taken the most pertinent information that's used most commonly by people and kind of summarized it under one section. So, you know, for a simple tax return for T1, you could literally come here and complete your tax return and e-file, and you're on your way. All right, so I am going to stop sharing my screen. That's going to conclude the product demo portion today, and we'll jump back into a couple slides just to wrap things up here. So I did want to take a minute to make sure everyone is aware that we do have a very large YouTube tutorial video library. We're currently working on updating this now, but please feel free to check this out if you do want to learn more of what we've talked about today on how to use QBOA Pro Tax. This is a great place to start. I think there's over 80 how-to videos there as of right now, and we're looking to update all of those. We typically will create a video for each feature that comes out and add it to this channel. So it's a great way to stay up to date on all the latest. And then I guess lastly, but most importantly, I just wanted to thank everyone for their time today and encourage you to reach out to me if you want to build together. Like I mentioned at the beginning of the call, we don't really launch features without getting buy-in from customers, and we like building with customers because who's better to help build a product than someone that would be using it, right? And so there's my name and my email address. Feel free to shoot me a line if you would like to do a customer session. Sometimes we'll do customer interviews. There's lots of different ways to get involved, and we always compensate you for your time as well. So it's a win-win situation. Feel free to shoot me a line if you want to get involved in some customer testing, any future beta testing, or if you just want to talk about ProTax or have any follow-up questions, feel free to reach out. I will also mention as well, we are currently working on an FX module, so forms expert. This will include a lot of various forms from charity returns to partnership returns, T4, T4A, T5, T2202, the list goes on and on. We're currently working on that and looking for some folks that can validate some designs and do some beta testing and customer testing with us. So feel free to reach out to me if you want to get involved in that, if you're familiar with those types of additional forms and have an opinion, we'd love to hear it. So again, just thank you everyone for your time today. Again, my name's Dustin Schisler. Really appreciate everyone coming to attend today. I hope you had as much fun as I did today. And again, if there's any follow-up questions, I'll take them. Feel free to reach out and hit me up directly. All right, and that'll conclude our webinar for today, but just thanks again, everyone, for joining and for watching and for being awesome. Try to get some sun today, but don't forget your sunscreen. Take care, everyone.